I'd be watching last night's BOJ that I didn't watch today because I had so much other shit to do.
Dude.
That's the thing, man. As much as I love New Japan and I love these tournaments, like it is really hard to keep up with them. Yeah, that's why I gotta stay on top of it. I noticed you caught up. Was it yesterday?
Today, I haven't watched today's show.
But you watched like 4 days.
Yeah. As soon as I came back, I knew I was already like 3/4 in the hole, and the Moxley thing had already came out. So I was like, man, fuck.
Yeah.
WWE can just sit here and wait. I will catch up with you in a second. No, I watched NXT. I haven't watched UK 205 or SmackDown yet.
My network stopped working for some reason. It says I'm not a subscriber.
There was a
like Steve's definitely still subscribed.
Yeah, right.
He actually uses mine, and it was working for him yesterday.
They sent an email out, at least 2 or 3, depending on. Essentially, it's an email saying that if you have this device, it's no longer compatible after this date.
But I tried it on my iPhone and my iPad. Neither one of them worked.
I would check this list.
Maybe
I'm not saying that my iPad doesn't work. I have the network on my iPad. I haven't checked it yet.
I'll check my Apple TV.
But I would definitely. There's a list out there of certain devices that is no longer compatible.
How you guys
Samir's
sounding?
Works on my phone.
What's up?
I said Samir's works. So.
You ain't shit.
Wouldn't it say that it says I'm no longer a subscriber though?
Maybe you got drunk and said, "Fuck it, I'm unsubscribing." That's what I did. That sounds like it's you unsubscribe for whatever reason.
That's super weird.
Okay, then, you gotta do predictions, right? You do now.
It's only 5 matches.
The good ones.
I didn't research.
Yeah.
Good. We got him on the road.
Mine was a little high, but not super, super high.
Mine was like Bill at Joey's high.
So like
after
barely.
one hit.
So like barely.
He showed up late, hit one hit.
You missed like the opening match? I mean,
I missed the
6-man match was off the chain.
Yeah, I missed everything pre-show.
My brothers were in town.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We didn't know that. Would you guys go to JJ Twiggs?
No, we were out in St. Charles, and I was like, I'm drunk, and my license expired last month, so I'm going to get home now. Come on, you pussy. Nope.
It is St. Charles.
Yeah, no, fuck all that.
They ain't got shit to do but to look for my black ass. I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah, you tell him, Sam.
It's the Band from Ringside.
Tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast, AEW Double or Nothing delivers. Jon Moxley drops bombs on the Chris Jericho podcast. Our NXT Takeover predictions, that and a whole bunch more tonight on the Band from Ringside podcast. Man, you surprised? I didn't know what I was going to say there, man. You didn't give me any warning. Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to Man from Ringside podcast. I am Bill Vagey, your host, a.k.a. Kayfabe rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. And to my right, we have Two Beers. Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beers, Zach?
Not much. I just want to put out a friendly reminder that it's been 100 days since the McMahons came on Raw and said everything would change.
Ooh, damn, did you count?
He's been holding on to that. He's so bitter.
Damn, did you count those
He's
days?
been holding on to
I
it.
saw it on Reddit.
Okay, right on.
And to his right, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Allow us to pull down the good book of the Band for Ringside podcast, volume 109, chapter 3, verse 14 of the Good Smart Sayeth, hashtag Boo the Heels. It is all good, baby. Shout out to my girl, Becky Balboa. Thank you for an amazing weekend. I love you. They should. I'm coming back in a good mood. Interesting week this week. A lot of non-WWE talk, some WWE talk. Let's delve in. Let's get it on.
To his right, we have Murray, the Murray Man. Murray, what's going on, Murray?
I'm doing great. I'm about a handful of Coronas in.
Yeah,
Caffeine this morning. But yeah,
it's kind of rare that you're drinking and Zach and I.
Yeah,
I'm not drinking
He's
either.
having a
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
You don't always, though.
I'm kinda jealous of that
It's
shirt.
an all-time thing with you.
Every now and then, I switch it up.
So being that this is the case,
Yes.
I'm very excited for multiple reasons. One, we're live on social media right now.
Yeah.
I just shared our live YouTube feed to all of our social medias at BFR on Twitter, Band from Ringside Pod Facebook, Friends of BFR on Facebook. We also have a Instagram.
Are we on Bumble?
Not yet, but I'm setting that up
Cool.
during the show. We also got all three of our t-shirts on prowrestlingtees.com, so make sure to go over there. This Sunday, our favorite, Glory Pro Wrestling in St. Louis, actually in Collinsville, Illinois. They'll be at Collins Club Sunday, as we normally do. It's going to be an amazing card. The regular cast of characters over there from Glory Pro. And if you come and see us, maybe we'll have some special little things for you.
We got some prizes to give out. We got some JJ Twigs gift card. JJ Twigs on Southampton, an official sponsor of the Band from Ringside podcast. They got great pizza, great thin crust pizza, and beer specials. If you want to go watch your Blues play in the Stanley Cup, they have specials when the Blues are playing. Also, when the Cardinals are playing. So go check out JJ Twigs on Southampton. We are coming at you from the exquisite Shock City Studios in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. We got Sam the Mauler Mall turning the knobs tonight.
Mr. Perfect's in the house.
And we got Easy to his right, just hanging out, picking up toenails and things like that. A little bit more business that we got to get to. We got that day one-ish sponsor, Soul Taco, which is the greatest Korean Mexican fusion fast casual food in the world, bar none. Go get yourself some Soul Taco. They got 2 food trucks driving around the St. Louis area, a place in the U City Loop, Chesterfield, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, Chicago, Illinois, Champaign, Illinois. If you've never had Soul Taco, I suggest you go get it. And if you have had Soul Taco, you're probably thinking, damn, I should probably go get some Soul Taco right now while I'm listening to the podcast, because that's how good it is. Also, one little more piece of business to get to. We are also hosting the Tony Schiavone podcast that's going to be at Off-Broadway at 3509 Limp here in St. Louis. It's called What Happened When. It's going to be him and Conrad, just like when Conrad and Bischoff came through. Same venue. If you went to that thing, you would know how much fun it is to watch these guys tell those stories. It's my favorite room in town. It's a great atmosphere. It's, if you want to just get together with a whole bunch of other smarks and listen to wrestling stories, it's a fun way to spend a Saturday night. That is on June the 22nd. Without further ado, we'll get to our 3 count. Jason, lead us off. It's a fun week.
Yeah,
historic week.
Yeah, no shit. We're starting off the week on Saturday night. The MGM Grand hosting the first ever AEW card, Double or Nothing. The main event being Jericho versus Kenny Omega. Winner would face the winner of the 21-man Battle Royal, won by Adam Page at the pre-kickoff show, or whatever you want to call it, pre-show. Just to touch on just winners and losers, Jericho obviously beats Omega, so now coming up, you will have Hangman Adam Page versus Chris Jericho to decide the first ever AEW champion. The Rhodes,
beautiful title, by the way.
It's gaudy as fuck. I love it. Rhodes versus Rhodes. Cody goes over Dustin in a bloodbath on the Dustin Rhodes side. I'm sure he bladed himself a little too deep.
Bloodbath.
Neither here nor there. Good match, better story. Lucha Brothers go down to the Young Bucks. Young Bucks retain the AAA Tag Team Championships. And once again, another great match, spot fest galore. But when you have two of arguably the 5 best tag teams in the world, you're going to have stuff like that going down. Other matches off the top of my head, SCU kicked it off against, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but that was a nice 6-man tag. Secret Heart sounds right. The women were next, where you had Nyla Rose, Dr. Britt Baker, and Kylie Ray starting off as a triple threat, but then the return of one Awesome Kong to pro wrestling turned this into a fatal 4-way. That was interesting. Brandy Rhodes seems like she's going to be the straw that stirs the drink for the women's division.
Completely forgot about the Awesome Kong thing.
The Yoshi match I thought was a little different because I just wasn't sure who was who, what was what. I think that was probably for me the down point of the entire card, just because I didn't know who was who. I'm missing one more. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that pretty much covers it.
I think you got them all. Oh, Sammy Guevara was on. Oh, Best Friends.
Best Friends, yeah. And I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Evans and
Jack Evans.
Shit.
Okay, so that was the rundown of all the matches. Now, you're bearing the lead, man.
Honestly, for me, it's what you like as a wrestling fan, because you had a little bit of everything. You had good storytelling, you had good matches, you had things that are going to foreshadow of what's going to happen down the line.
What was the biggest pop of the night?
Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but for me, it was probably Jon Moxley, which
I thought you had forgotten that happened.
No.
How can we get this far into it without mentioning Jon Moxley coming out?
Jon Moxley obviously comes out at the end of the main event and attacks Chris Jericho briefly, but then he and Kenny Omega proceed to fight through the crowd, go up the stack of chips, and Moxley delivers one decent, in Jake Roberts' opinion, DDT on the stack of chips, and that's where the show ends.
He also got the ref.
He did get the ref too. I lost Stone Cold, so
that actually probably got the bigger pop of all of them when he first dropped in.
It was a massive moment, just a huge moment.
Like you said, for me, and that was kind of weird to see that. For me, like I said on Twitter earlier this week, because I didn't break it down, I saw it on my little mini vacay. Good, not great. If I had to give it a grade, I would give it a B. I'm not trying to compare it to WWE. I'm just putting this in its own little box, comparing it to its own merit. And it's not a lot to compare it to. It's just a one-shot deal. Nothing major. The timekeeper botch is the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that was a real big standout botch moment. I think the Bret Hart championship belt ceremony segment went a little too long. Outside of that, I thought it was a solid first start. They're not taking over WWE anytime soon, but it was a really good first opening show.
Zach, what are your thoughts?
I'd give it a solid A. It was a fantastic show because of the variety. Like Jason said, it's funny that it said that the Joshi match was the low point. For me, it was one of the high points.
I loved it.
It was probably my third favorite match of the entire night, after Cody and Dustin and the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers. And it also was a paradigm shift for the crowd, because we were talking a little bit early on about how the crowd was a hot crowd and they had a mic'd really well and stuff, but there was a period of lull between that initial 6-man with SCU and the OWE guys, and that Joshi match. And the Joshi match is where it really took off. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I really like Joshi wrestling, but those ladies stole the show, and the fact that nobody knew who they were and the crowd was still super into it, testifies to the quality of that storytelling and just how fun that kind of style of wrestling is. But anyway, it was just really fun. Production was great. We talked about how the announcing was really good. Alex Marvez and Excalibur did great. You didn't like it?
It was okay.
There's
JR
a lot of
was
people, a lot of
hilarious.
people that did not like Marvez at all.
There really was.
I liked him.
He was kind of just bland, where JR got into it when Moxley came in. JR got into it. Marvez was kind of like, oh, looks like he's not coming to, say hello. That's how you gonna get Moxley over? I mean, come on, it's stuff like that. He's bland. It's just he's matter of fact versus making it feel like, oh shit, John Moxley's coming from the fucking crowd.
Maybe it was Excalibur then, who was like, because
Bill
and I
a lot of people said
Excalibur was really good.
Yeah.
We kept comparing one of them to
tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, and maybe that must have been Excalibur.
It was, yeah.
Okay, because I thought it was Marvez for some reason. Like, so I got the two conflated in my head. But yeah, like production wise, you mentioned the timekeeping thing. They really riffed on it. The ref did a great job of like shutting it down. And Bret Hart, it's how long has he been told to face the hard cam, or like that was like ingrained
he
in
was
your
just
head,
spinning
just
around,
spinning. Yeah. But otherwise, I thought it was a really good
Hit in
show.
the head a bunch of times.
Granted,
he fell off the stairs in the back too.
Yeah.
So.
I'm like an unadulterated like AEW fanboy, but I was really pleased. Also, quick note: Tony Khan ran time in Gorilla, because we were wondering who was in Gorilla, and I saw in the back there's Tony Khan, Kipsop, Dean Malenko, and then any of the elite guys that were not wrestling at the time. But yeah, Tony Khan ran time the whole production, and that's they were
impressive.
under time. Like the show was like boom wrestling match, boom wrestling match, boom wrestling match, and it was professional wrestling, and maybe that's why I liked it so much, because it was professional fucking wrestling.
Merman.
I'm going to go with Vince Russo. No, I'm just totally fucking kidding. If you hadn't heard, Vince Russo thinks they're in cahoots with WWE,
Right?
which is fucking laughable. But
I had not heard that.
yeah, he's blowing Twitter up right now.
I'm like,
He's
dude, this is
being
the
totally
dumbest fucking
serious.
thing ever.
Wow.
But so, anyways, my highlight
And
was
Sandy Hook was staged.
yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny? Just before you get started,
Yeah,
I
you're good.
recently watched that thing on Vice about the Montreal Screwjob, where Vince Russo's the one that thinks that it's still a work, that
Yeah.
Vince, Sean, and Brett are still working us, and he still believes that it's a work.
After all the things that aren't being worked
so he probably
anymore.
is a Sandy Hook truther.
Yeah,
All
who
right, go
cares?
ahead. Yeah.
So,
Who gives
anyways,
a fuck?
Rhodes was probably my absolute highlight, and I knew I would like it. But okay, so I popped for two things all night long. One, pyro. They have
You did.
pyro.
He popped every time there was a
Every
pyro.
time pyro
He was-
popped, I
he was
popped.
so
they didn't
happy.
overdo it either.
No,
Yeah.
it was perfect. And then two, and again, I was drinking Mickey's that night.
Yeah, I remember.
I had quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But I was very invested in the blood. Not and I was with you guys, like it was a lot. And at one point I was like, okay, maybe call it.
We were getting uncomfortable.
It was kind of uncomfortable. Towards the end, he stopped bleeding a little bit, but the way they used color in the match felt old school. It felt like wrestling, and it wasn't done because it was a hardcore match or it was their way of adding that much more to the element of their story of that match. And then the ending, somebody posted on Twitter, they cut it together. Dusty's old promo trying to get Dustin as his tag team partner in WCW. It's almost word for word what Cody told him at the end of that
Wow,
match.
I haven't seen that
That's
either.
It makes an emotional moment 100 times more emotional when you watch it again, because
there were
it's
people crying in
almost
the
word
crowd.
for word. And I don't know if it was a shoot in the ring, like whether Dustin knew that was coming or not, but he obviously knew what he was saying. And
Right.
It was a cool moment. And then, the Moxley thing, I've said it before, I wasn't a huge Dean Ambrose fan.
Neither was I.
And I popped super hard. I got up off the couch because I'm excited to see what he's able to do now that he's free, quote unquote.
Oh, man, he free shit.
Yeah.
This is if I would have been doing the one count, I would have said, listen, they might not have said that they're not competing against WWE, but this is now a competition.
Well,
if it's not a fucking war,
And the throne-
it doesn't
Yeah, I
have
was
to,
getting ready to
it
say, when you
doesn't have to
smashing
be.
the throne, it's basically on at
I'll
this point.
get to that in a second. But when AEW, think about this. This is their first official AEW event, right? this is their starting point. Do you know how many places they're going to get to be able, like any minor quibbles that you had with the show as a whole? They're only going to get better from now because they can look at, hey, here's some things that we didn't do right. Here's some things that we did right. And it ended the show with literally one of WWE's top 5 most popular wrestlers taking out Chris Jericho, one of their most legendary wrestlers, and fighting Kenny Omega, who is the most over, probably the best wrestler in the world, to a massive freaking pop. And they're not even on TV yet.
Yeah.
That is
There's
exciting.
no pre-story yet.
We finally have some competition. This is what we've been waiting for. And I see Jason shaking his head over there, and I know he's going to find the dark lining in the silver cloud.
Dude,
but man,
that's not even what I'm shaking my head for. God damn.
This is good news. This was a success the other night. The Cody Dustin thing, also my favorite match of the night. I didn't think that Jericho and Omega got to the level that they did in their first match. I like the first match better than I like this match, but that's okay because Jericho's still 6 months older. Like, it's going to be a precipitous decline. He can do what he can, and he's still relevant, and it was still a great match.
That back elbow actually
It's
turned
actually
out to be
18 months older.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as a
That's a good finish.
He executed it very nicely.
I wish Dean Ambrose would have said, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." That's my only gripe.
The Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks was crazy from start to finish. From start to finish, insane. I thought the Cody thing, hitting the throne with the sledgehammer and having it kind of like collapse a little bit. I thought, man, I understand what he was trying to do, but it's more like, hey, man, like, don't focus so much on Triple H.
No, you know what? Actually, somebody asked him afterwards, and he's like, while that symbolism was there, he's like, my initial idea for it was actually for me to kind of focus on my role as a wrestler and not my role as an executive vice president, because I want to be a wrestler first and an executive vice president second. He's like, yeah, the symbolism was there. And he's like, I'm not going to be able to go back to WWE even if I wanted to.
All right. Sorry, Jason. I was making assumptions. What were you shaking your head about?
No, ultimately, it's going to take a while, but I don't want to say that they're competition just yet. I will say this. Watching Double or Nothing and then having to come back and watch Monday Night Raw really focuses on what I thought was wrong with WWE. Now it's really starting to come to light, and then we're going to talk about it more going into the 2 count. AEW will be fine. They're not going to take over WWE. Like Jericho and Moxley said, this is a fucking machine. Everybody's just going to have to deal with it. As long as they put a quality product out there, they're going to force WWE to have to do the same. And if they don't, that's how you're going to start losing the war.
And I saw some gripes on Twitter about the Rhodes, Cody, and the Bucks putting themselves over. And it's like, but man, they're playing to like they're getting bigger and bigger crowds every time. Double or Nothing's going to have a bigger buy rate than All In is. And there's going to have to be people where you're going to have to say, hey, everybody kind of knows Cody, but especially with the Bucks, it's like, here are your stars. Like, they're going to be here for a long time. Phoenix and Pentagon are probably going to roam around a little bit, but I don't mind that at all. I don't mind them.
It makes sense because now the next match with the Bucks is going to be against the Rhodes. It makes sense.
And in October, it's logical. And in October, they're going to have to do the same things because they're going to have a TV audience that they need to assume is brand new to their product, and they need to put over their stars and fuck the Smarks tears,
Yeah.
Well, and it's not like it's fucking Shane McMahon getting a championship or something. It's not the same as Triple H going back in right in this moment and getting the world title, which isn't happening necessarily right now, but it's not the same. They are still active.
You wait till the ratings drop.
Well, right. They're still active, one, and two, they're still... It's not the same. It's not the same as them being executives versus them being wrestlers.
I'll say this and we can move on. The bottom line is that AEW has got a formula, a plan in place. Things make sense. And that's probably my biggest gripe with WWE is that it never makes sense. From point A to point B, somewhere it gets lost in translation. For their first show, give them the credit.
Oh, man.
Give them credit.
Good start.
It is a good start.
I mean, the Dustin Cody match really seemed like, I mean, I hate to call it I hate when people call something a love letter. It was like it harkened back to their dad's days of wrestling.
It had Dusty Rhodes
written all
so
over
much
it.
It was
imprinted on it. It was sick.
Best match on the card and best match that either of them have ever wrestled.
I agree. I know Dustin's been wrestling for a long frickin' time, and I haven't seen all of his matches, but I've seen a lot of Cody matches, and that was Cody's best match.
Absolutely.
And I can't imagine any other matches that they wrestled had people crying in the audience because they were so moved.
Five-star matches don't necessarily have to be technical masterpieces.
It was also just pro wrestling as a motherfucker. It wasn't a sports entertainment match. That was wrestling.
That's pro wrestling as Shakespeare.
Touche.
Speaking of pro wrestling, talking about pro wrestling as not being Shakespeare,
Right.
That's going to get to our 2 counts. All right, Zach, we don't like to put other podcasts over, but
No,
I think
never.
I think we probably should. I think everybody's probably already listening to this
Yeah,
one.
so if you haven't, and I'd be surprised if you haven't because this thing's fucking everywhere, just pause this.
Yeah.
Go download Talk is Jericho. It's called The Emancipation of Moxley. Or Emancipation of John Moxley, and it's about an hour and a half minus like some kitty litter ads for
I think there was one for like insect traps too. It's like,
I
wait a minute,
actually thought about Googling that because I have stink bugs in the house, so they might have got a purchase. It's 3 minutes of John Moxley, formerly Dean Ambrose, being appreciative of WWE for allowing him to meet his wife and make all the money that he has made and have a house that's paid off and a vehicle paid off and his parents' house paid off.
Just to clear up, it sounded like you said beat his wife, but you meant meet his wife, right?
His wife. I said meet. Yes,
that might have
that's
been
what
a
I
Freudian
meant.
slip.
Yeah,
Renee's okay, everybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Tara,
Yeah.
call me if you need me. It was about saying we can protect you.
If she gets any worse on commentary, it might change. But anyway, and after those 3 minutes, it's an hour and a half of, like you said, he's like, now let's bury this company. So just some highlights. He knew he wanted to leave the company in July 2018 when he was out with an injury. So, talking about being physically ill every Monday and just being bombarded with anxiety and, depression and just not wanting, to do the things that he was being asked to do. Notice how he just said Monday. He didn't talk about the house shows or anything. Like he was fine wrestling.
He had fun on the
but
house
it was
shows.
the TV. Refused to read a scripted promo because he thought it was idiotic and ridiculous. Vince thought it was great. He said he wouldn't even say it on air, but he said that they would have lost sponsors and somebody would have been fired, whether it was him or whoever wrote it. It was that bad. And considering just a few years ago, Vince said the N-word, and it was worse than that. So
They said it was something about Roman with cancer.
yeah, and it was something related to Roman with cancer.
Which he still kind of did, but didn't go. I don't think he actually said the line they fed him.
Yes, not that one. Yeah, I talked about enjoying the Make-A-Wish stuff. Thought he didn't like the Roman cancer stuff. Says he felt like walking out of the Raw where he got the shots and he was vaccinated during a promo.
I remember this podcast
God,
when that happened.
damn,
And
that was
I
horrible,
remember us being like, what the fuck are
is
they
going
doing
on?
with Dean?
Exactly. Yeah, it was so weird. Like you could even see it. Says he was excited to return to wrestling when he's injured, but he was sitting at home thinking about all the ways that he could like return and all the cool things that he could do. But he was not imagining himself because they would not have allowed him to do any of that in WWE. So he's like imagining himself returning like in other places. Said that he would, even if there was no other promotion than WWE, he still would have left. Said he would have left and started his own promotion just to
Or
be
whatever.
an indie promotion just to wrestle.
Or even go to back to CZW, whatever.
Okay, that's deep.
Didn't even look at the new contract they offered him. The envelope, has no idea what kind of money they offered because he didn't even look at it. Didn't even talk to AEW about money. I'm sure they eventually got around to talking about money, but he basically was ready to sign before they even offered him. He said Tony Khan's the exact opposite of Vince. He likes him and the fact that he's a huge wrestling fan because they can just talk about like 80s wrestling and stuff that
And ECW.
they're all really into. Yeah. Goal in AEW is to be the best version of himself. actually talks about using social media now that he's out of WWE. Talked about how he made those videos and stuff. And he told Seth that he's a wild animal that's been domesticated for too long when Seth was upset about him leaving. So obviously Seth's happy. I don't know. But anyway, this was very telling, very vindicating. Feel very good about this because we sit here every week and we complain about all this shit. And you got, the WWE apologists that just act like it's a fucking smooth sailing. And why wouldn't, if everybody hates it there, why are they not there? And, why are people still watching it? Well, the fact is less people are watching this than ever before.
Yeah, even though they're making more money.
And they're making more money and less people are watching.
People like us have a podcast, so we have to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like, it's what CM Punk said during the pipe bomb. He goes, this company makes money in spite of itself.
Yep.
Jay Bell, your big takeaway.
Real quick, an analogy. You mentioned the AEW competition thing, having a better product, forcing a larger company to make a better product. It like looking at like beer, like Anheuser-Busch. There's all kinds of great craft breweries. I work for one. We make great beer. It doesn't make them make any better beer. It just makes them kind of mimic the better beer in like a different packaging for the stupid masses. So I feel like that's what's going to happen. They're not going to improve the product hardly any. It's just going to get maybe a little different and they'll just keep their people. Anyway, go ahead.
Biggest takeaway. I don't know. I guess when he was saying that I have this idea, but I'm not even going to bother because they're all going to get shot down, was to me an indication of what is going on. That, like Two Beers said, this is the vindication that makes me feel like, okay, we're just not just saying shit just to throw shit out there. We're saying it because there's something behind it. And now Moxley is all just but confirmed everything that we've already thought about. It would be like me coming into my restaurant and not having a personality. Here's everything you have. This is all you need to do. We're going to provide everything. All you have to do is show up. That doesn't even sound fun to me.
No.
Okay? That's basically what the WWE does. You just show up. When we tell you to show up, we're going to give you everything else you need, and you can go ahead and go. Well, that sounds horrible.
Well, even in Dean's case, or Moxley's case, the way that he was describing it, it would be like you didn't come in, you had to check your personality at the door, and then they gave you a shitty personality
on top of it.
So it'd be like the difference between working at your restaurant and working at Hooters or fucking Fridays or some shit.
Okay, but it just shows like there's only one creative mind, and that's Vince McMahon. Everybody else, at least the way I interpret it, everybody else is the in-between yes men. This is what Vince kind of wants. And then you have Moxley on the other end where he's like, okay, why does my character do this? I need the reason why. And that's how many times we why is this happening? I don't understand this. A lot of this is just because Vince is just stuck in his way and there's nobody to tell him different. And until something major happens, this is the way WWE is going to run. It's a one rudder ship, and that rudder's Vince McMahon.
I think one of the things that stood out the most to me was his professionalism in the sense that, for one, he knew his wife was still going to be employed there. So he kept.
So he was holding shit back.
So he kept his cool in certain levels.
Yeah, he stayed.
Oh, you're talking about not in the interview.
No.
He
mentioned it in the interview.
Because he was saying at one point he was ready to walk out.
Yeah,
right.
but he's like no. And some of the angles they gave him that he would go in there and immediately question and fight about, and like you said, would ask, okay, so I'm fine with that, but tell me why. Give me something to go with so I can make this work for you. That part of it, that he was willing to at least try, even after fighting it, he would at least fight it and then just go out there and do it. That part of it to me speaks volumes of his professionalism. Mm-hmm. That whole thing. The second part, I've already forgotten as I was saying the first part.
I was Corona right there, boy.
I I've listened to Dean on Stone Cold's podcast, and he seemed like a way bigger weirdo than he did in this podcast.
That was my point. So if you go back and you listen to that interview he did on the Stone Cold podcast on the network, where Stone Cold was like poking him the whole time, like, stop, be you. What are you doing? Be edgier. Like, talk.
I hated that fucking interview.
I did too. It was so uncomfortable.
But now it makes more sense.
It makes sense.
Now, this Talk is Jericho interview, he was doing the interview he wanted to do with Stone Cold probably, but he was playing ball.
Yep.
So he just sat there and took Stone Cold, of all people, who he kind of, at least as far as how he came into AEW at the end, had like a Stone Cold pop.
Right. And it was a Stone Cold pop.
It was. So in my opinion, like, that also goes to his professionalism, that he just sat there in that interview that should have been pure gold and probably excitement for him, and just kind of took it, until.
Yeah, he did not come across at all during that Stone Cold interview.
I mean, like, Zach, you said, so I guess Seth is fine there. Like, Seth doesn't have the type of personality that Vince, like, Vince saw something in him. Like, he even said, he goes, once they saw that I had any bit of comedic timing at all, that's when it all went wrong, because he's like, I don't want to drag a wagon full of weapons down to the match and throw them into the ring when I have to fight Brock Lesnar. He's like, I don't want to wear a gas mask because I think the crowd stinks.
Times.
Oh, now that Jericho and Moxley are in there, you think we'll get an Asylum match number 2?
Oh, man, I hope not.
Jason just looked at me like,
shut the fuck up.
So I say, don't even give them ideas.
But it's like Jason was saying, when he goes, if you're going to give me everything to do, he's like, just get an actor. He's like, I'm a professional wrestler. He's like, let me go out there. Let me create my own character. Let me cut my own promos. He's like, I don't need a writer. I was impressed that he didn't bury anybody but Vince.
Yeah.
Now,
there was plenty of people he could have.
It's going to be a weird day at work next time Renee goes in after this thing comes on. It's got to be weird, man. He buried the shit out of Vince. You don't think she's got Vince in her ear the entire...
Do you think she cares, though?
No, I don't think that she cares.
Can go
because
anywhere now.
Well, she can go to AEW.
She could go to anything.
No, she can go mainstream if she wanted to.
Yeah, like,
she could go to Fox.
And she would be fine. WWE doesn't want to lose Renee just because.
Exactly. I'm saying
on the
same page.
I'm just saying it's got to be awkward, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's everybody else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he said everything else that probably everybody else wants to say, but can't really say it.
He really only buried Vince. I mean, he said it's not any of the talent's fault. He goes, the writers. One time I yelled at the writer. It wasn't his fault
either.
He seemed uncomfortable.
I yelled at him either.
Yeah. I said Vince is going to die in the chair.
And ready,
just like
Vince has said.
Yeah.
He said it himself.
That's a Vince quote, though. He goes, I'm going to die in the chair.
Yeah, we know that. That's why I keep telling people about the XFL. The XFL is going to be like a little hobby. It'll be cute. You know what I'm saying? It'd be like Trump winning the presidency. It started off as cute, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden, he fucking won. Holy shit!
Maybe it was cute when he started running and he went down the escalator, and Jon Stewart was making fun of him.
Okay,
it progressively got less cute.
The XFL is not his passion. WWE is his passion. Whether he wants to degrade WrestleMania with the Super Showdown, saying it's going to be the equivalent or better than that was last week. I wish I was here for that episode. The bottom line is Vince is going to be Vince, and he's going to take WWE wherever he wants to go until we bury him 6 feet under.
I'll also say this. I know that I might be a prisoner of the moment. I can't imagine a better shoot interview of all time, because like I was telling Jason before, this is not some guy that's telling it 20 years later. This is not some guy who's pissed off. This is not Chris Masters, who comes out of the WWE and is pissed off because he never got pushed, never got the jetpack. This is a guy that was at the top of the card, that's in one of the greatest factions, maybe top 2 factions that WWE ever produced, and was booked to win championships, and was booked to main event, and was booked all the way to the moon. And then he left because he was so pissed off. And then 2 months later, he does an hour-and-a-half long shoot interview and buries the shit out of Vince McMahon.
He used to talk to plants.
There has not been a better shoot. There has not been a more explosive shoot interview of all time.
CM Punk I thought was really good at the time, but it was a little bit after the fact. This is
plus
pretty much on point.
Plus, CM Punk comes off like a fucking prick.
He does.
This guy comes across as
passionate.
Just frustrated.
Genuine, passionate, frustrated.
I mean, who would you rather hang out with in real life? John Moxley or CM Punk?
I mean, come on. I mean, that's not even fair. I mean,
I want to have a beer with both of them.
CM Punk's straight edge, so obviously
Moxley. That's what I was going to say. Really? We're going to have that conversation? Come on.
Before we get to our 3 count, because our 3 count is going to be predictions tonight, Jason, why don't you tell us about F&B Eatery?
F&B Eatery on the corner of 3453 Southampton, part of our Southampton mafia of independent restaurateurs. Go check out my boy Mike. Good friend of mine, known him for at least a decade, probably more so. If you are a fan of smash hamburgers, like I am a fan of smash hamburgers, check me out. I will be there tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to scoop up some F&B gift cards to take with us to the Gory Pro event, just in case we run out of the JJ Twig cards.
We'll hand them all out.
We'll hand them all out. So that way,
Southampton Mafia.
So that way, we all get to enjoy the greatness of one F&B Eatery. Go check my boy out. F&B Eatery, 3453 Southampton. Tell him Band from Ringside sent you.
And then Sam, you can do the 3 count or the 3 ring, and then the music.
That tote bag.
What about it?
I don't know. It cracks me up.
Yo, everybody. It's time for the NXT TakeOver 25 predictions. No, this one's not attached to a WWE pay-per-view because the next WWE pay-per-view is that, what are they calling it? Blood in the Sand or whatever they call it?
That's right.
That's not my joke. I forget whose joke that is, but
it's still going to be better than
Super Saiyan Showdown.
But this one's got some potential. It's also got a couple surprise matches on here. So we got Sam the Mauler Mall. He's going to be making the predictions with us. He's coming in 4th place out of the 5 of us. So he's not in last, which is pretty impressive for a guy that doesn't watch wrestling at all. But coming up first, and this is the only one that you're going to have to go least to most likely to win.
That's what I call bullshit.
We have for the vacated NXT because he's in 5th and he's upset about it.
I'll be mad too, motherfucker.
Coming up first for the vacated NXT championships, vacated by the War Raiders or the Viking Raiders or the Viking Experience or whatever you want to call them.
Those guys that wear paint.
We have Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era versus the Sons of Anarchy. No, where are they called? Versus the Forgotten Sons. Sam, give me the least likely to win to the most likely to win.
Before I guess, do the Forgotten Sons also have motorcycles?
They dress like they have motorcycles. They're a biker gang.
They're not gonna lose.
One of their name is actually Jackson, Jaxson, like the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Riker
fucking sucks.
There's a guy named Riker too.
No, that's his name.
It's the worst.
Riker the biker.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So cute.
It's the worst NXT gimmick ever.
It's bad. I'm not.
The fans actually chant "Stay Forgotten" at them. I hear it every time.
Dude.
All right, Sam, what you got?
Whatever, Oni Lorcan or whatever, and Danny, they're last.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna say Street Profits, then Forgotten Sons, and Undisputed Era winning.
That's because the Undisputed Era is the only one that you've ever heard of, isn't it?
Exactly correct.
I know you, Sam.
I mean to tell you, it's been 2 years. We got him down.
What do you say, Murray?
I'm gonna go the Sons biker gang last. Then I'm gonna go Lorcan and his partner. God damn it,
Andy Burke, friend of the show.
Motherfucker.
Because I think they're taking things in a certain direction. The clean sweep I think is going to happen. So I'm going to go Street Profits next, even though I would like to see them win them. They should have won them when they vacated them. And then obviously Undisputed Era to take them home.
All right, JCB.
Interesting. Least to most. We're gonna go just because I just don't like this team at all. No, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna go Lorcan and Burch as the least likely team to win. Great hands, but they're just not gonna win in this scenario.
They really are. They really are great.
They
hands.
are really great hands.
I love them both.
Dude, they are just so fucking good in the ring. Next, I'm gonna go to Undisputed Era. I just think that this Roderick Strong angle is going to blow up in their face. This is going to probably be the start of that. Then I'm going to go with the team that I really can't fucking stand. It will be the Forgotten Sons at number 2. I just got the sneaky suspicion that it always is the team that I don't like that is circling around like vultures. But to correct the wrong that they should have did 2 weeks ago, I am going to pick the Street Profits to go over in a ridiculous ass ladder match to win the vacated NXT Tag Team Champions.
They deserve it,
man.
Oh yeah,
Lorcan and Danny Burch in a ladder match is going to be a lot of fun too.
This is going to be sick
with the Street Profits.
Oh
also.
yeah, somebody's not coming out the way they walked in. This motherfucker, I promise you that.
Yeah, no shit.
What do you say, Two Beer?
I had the exact same order as JCB for much the same reason. I think Montez Ford is going to be the star of this match.
And then some.
He can already jump so high.
Now you're giving him a fucking ladder?
Now you're giving him a ladder? I mean, goddamn. Yeah, it's going to be good. Like you guys said, Lorcan and Birch, great hands, but they don't have the star power to carry the titles. Forgotten Sons are not necessarily like good heels. They're just like they have like go away heat instead of like heat.
I don't know why they're pushing.
They don't really have. We don't like the tag team division's the weakest it's been in a while.
Yeah, they basically
so they don't really have,
raped it a little bit.
Yeah, they don't have people with the Viking Raiders going and with all the NXT UK guys like kind of focusing mostly on UK. You don't have your Mustache Mountain. You don't have your grizzled young vets and those guys. So,
I'm going to make it a clean sweep for only Lorcan and Andy Burch going last, just because. I think they're going to be in it. I think they're kind of the tag version of Cassius Ohno. Like they're there to make guys look really good in the tag.
They're great
division.
Enhancement talent.
Yeah. But when I came here and when Sam said it, that's the exact same way I was thinking it. So I'm not going to change it. Just because I could see the Street Profits never getting the belts, but going up to the main roster first. I could see SmackDown going down and grabbing them. They'd be fun foils against Daniel Bryan and Rowan, honestly.
They're going to be great as long as they let them be anyway.
I was about to say,
also, I want to say that if Crime Time was a racist name for a black tag team, which it really was, Street Profits and spelling profit Profit also is racist.
Yeah, and the whole thing is a pretty
the Dixie Cup. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah,
of.
it's a very heavy-handed like stereotypical gimmick.
It bothers me. It does, man. They lost the chance to go to the Dusty Rhodes final over fucking gold chains and a Dixie Cup.
Really, what they I wish that they would have had the Street Profits versus the War Raiders at this
flat out
at this one and have the War Raiders just drop it. Coming up next, fill in our Tyler Breeze came back down to where he came from where he belongs.
He came back down. Is this a demotion, you think?
No. Well, I mean, he came back to NXT.
Geographically, he's back down in Florida.
If anything, he's fucking hot again.
But
like he's always been hot.
Tyler Breeze. Well, he's Prince Pretty. Prince Pretty versus Velveteen Dream. I love that I have written down here Dream versus Breeze. Like those perfect names for those guys. I'll go first here. I can't see Tyler Breeze going over Dream. I'm going to take Velveteen Dream. Sam, you are up. Velveteen Dream or Tyler Breeze?
This should be good.
Are they laundry sheets? I'll go with Velveteen Dream for winning.
This motherfucker said they laundry sheets. Right.
That's right.
That might. That's a really good joke, Sam.
Yeah, that's messed up.
What do you have, JCB?
I hate when I have to come behind Sam when he has good jokes. I really think that apparently Tyler Breeze is here to stay in NXT, so this is not a one-off.
But he wasn't even supposed to be in this match. It was supposed to be Dijak.
I agree.
Ovich.
I really think that more so to why I'm leaning towards Velveteen Dream. I would love to see Tyler Breeze come back and wreak havoc and have a nice little feud with Velveteen Dream until Dijak came back and comes back healthy. But I just can't see him taking off the Velveteen Dream right now. He's just way too fucking hot.
Dream.
Yeah.
Super.
Same thing. I got Velveteen Dream. I'm really anxious for this match. Their promos against each other were complete fire last week. Really, really loved it. They're like kind of similar characters. Like Dream is kind of like the evolution of Prince Pretty.
Right.
It's going to be really interesting to see their character work, and they both can go in the ring. This is going to be like a potential like show stealer.
It could be. It could be.
It's hard to think of anything stealing the show with Cole and Gargano on it because the last match was so good. But you're right. I mean, it is. What do you say, Murray?
I want to piggyback on what Zach said. Like they're very similar, so that is very enticing to me because it's like the flamboyant badass versus the flamboyant badass in a sense. So it's kind of fresh in that sense. But of course, if you're watching live right now,
you should be. God damn it,
Velveteen fucking Dream.
Got the Dream shirt
forever
on. Okay,
and always.
You're going up next right now. Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler for the women's championship.
Oh man,
this is a tough one.
I know it really is because there's been no real talk or rumors that Baszler's gonna move up anytime soon. But I feel like she's one of those champions in NXT that if she drops it, she'll be going. If she does, I have hopes for the main roster of the women's division. I'm going to go with Baszler.
Okay, going Shayna Baszler.
I'm going to have to go with Shayna Baszler. And I know that's probably not the way it's going to go, but I have to go Shayna Baszler.
Sam, who you got, Io Shirai or Shayna Baszler?
I'm going to go with Io Shirai because he's in last, so...
it's a women's match. But because he's in last.
Wow.
Can we have a special hour of just me and Mr. Perfect over here?
Just doing predictions against each other?
Just having a fight.
Flipping a coin?
We're just going to turn the lights off in the studio and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Two Beer Zach, who you got?
I got Io, man. I think she's the best women's wrestler in the world, and I think it's her time to show everybody exactly that. I think this is going to be Shayna Baszler's best match because of her.
I am also taking Io Shirai. I think that Shayna Baszler, I've been picking them to take the belt off of Shayna Baszler like for a lot of different takeovers in a row. I'm going Io Shirai.
And because of that, the same way I have been picking Shayna Baszler to lose, this time I'm going to pick her to retain. Woo! There is something about Candice LeRae just popping up out of the blue. I know that they say that Io Shirai saved her 2 weeks beforehand.
You mean that blonde girl?
Yeah, that blonde girl that they got and they made a big deal about and then didn't do anything with, and now all of a sudden she's coming back.
Yeah.
It'd been a perfect time if you actually booked her, and this is one of the few times I won't bitch about NXT. If you booked her from the start when she got there, this would have been a perfect time to have her flip heel. Maybe it still happens.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't. I just find it a little weird that all of a sudden she's just friends with Io Shirai. Call it for what it is. I smell rat. I'm going to take Baszler with the win.
If everything you've done in the past is wrong, then the opposite must be right. Jason's taking Shayna Baszler. We're coming up next. Now, this is another potential show stealer. We have Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. Sam, who you got?
God, that's going to be good.
I know. It's going to be fucking great.
I'm going to go with Roderick Strong.
All right. Roderick Strong for Sam. Maybe pick him. I'm going to go, as much as I want to pick the Undisputed Era sweep on the entire night, which would be a great little bow on top of the NXT TakeOver 25. I think that Riddle just went down to Velveteen Dream at the last pay-per-view, and I think that Matt Riddle, him being one of the next guys, obviously, that they're going to want to put a belt on, I think that's time for them to put somebody over who's strong. Pardon the pun. I'm taking Matt Riddle. Two Beer.
Yeah, as much as I would like to say that Riddle's weakness is strong.
Look at you.
That's like my Tony Nese nephew joke.
Yeah, it really is. Very similar.
That you guys really shit on.
All you guys needed was all you guys need for that kind of wit is just a crippling student loan debt and an English degree. So, enjoy it.
Shit.
So yeah, man, I feel the same. Like I don't see Riddle going down twice in a row, although they could play off that, a little bit of a storyline. But I can see Strong losing and having issues because they got this whole Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong thing going on. I think it's going to play into that. So I got Matt Riddle.
Everything what he said. I just can't see Matt Riddle going down twice. It just doesn't make sense. The Roderick Strong angle is the bigger angle. The eventual breakup of the Undisputed Era is the bigger angle. That's why this is going to be a great match. Don't get it twisted. This is going to be a great match.
How many backbreakers? What's the over-under?
Let's put it at 10.5.
I'm going to say under, but
I want to take the over. I'm talking, this is going to be
under.
backbreaker left and right, Suplex City, dude. I'm
Yep.
telling you.
Yep.
But Matt Riddle should go over.
I'm going to go with the NXT fans on this one.
Yeah.
I think wrestling fans are going to be the ones to win this one.
Right.
Because, again, like they just said and like you said, it's going to be a badass match. I'm going to go with Matt Riddle, though. I see him as
underrated.
Matt Riddle is the fucking future, and so should
Roderick Strong
Roderick
is
Strong
really
be.
underrated.
So
He
underrated.
really is.
I think the only
he might
person
be the
that's-
best worker in Undisputed Era.
I mean, between
that
him
could
and
be all
Kyle
right.
O'Reilly, man,
Kyle O'Reilly
is
can go.
so good.
Yeah,
too.
Kyle O'Reilly can go. He'll tie you up in the pretzel real quick.
All right, last but not least, we got Adam Cole, baby, versus Johnny Gargano. Sam, who you got? Johnny Gargano. This is for the belt. Johnny Gargano is currently holding the belt. I know that plays into your choice.
Yeah.
God, I wish I'd had that on tape.
I know.
Right
Too bad this is a podcast. No one can see the face that he just made.
Oh my God, that was great.
I think he'll keep it.
All right, so he's going Johnny Gargano, Murray Man.
I'm actually okay. So whether the clean sweep happens for Undisputed Era, I think it's Adam Cole that takes a lot of losses, and it's okay because he's
He can
obviously
absorb them.
he absolutely can. He's taking this one though. He's taking
I
it.
think Adam Cole's winning.
He is going to win. I guarantee.
JC, baby.
Man, I almost feel blasphemous for going this way, but the Undisputed Era is going to break up. You can't have them break up and have Adam Cole winning the title.
Good.
I went against Cole. I went against Gargano last time, and it bit me in the ass. So this time around, kind of like what you said earlier, we're going to switch it up. I'm going to take Johnny Gargano to retain the title.
Jabir?
I think you guys know I'm picking. I don't think I could ever, even if it was the most logical booking ever, that I could go against, my dude. So I got Gargano.
Okay, so I'm two minds on this because I think it's weird that I don't think that they would, after Johnny Gargano's long road to getting the championship, that they would take it off him after just winning it for the first time. These guys are coming off what is one of my favorite matches of all time. Maybe 3 best matches I've ever seen. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I could see Adam Cole winning this though, and Adam Cole versus Roderick Strong for the belt at the next NXT.
Ooh.
That being said, I'm taking Johnny Gargano.
And I don't think that, and I'll take it one step further. I don't think it's going to be a pinfall kind of deal. I'm looking for disqualification, some sort of fuckery.
Who would Johnny Gargano fight next, though? No, I'm changing it. I'm going Adam Cole.
Oh shit!
I see some sort of fuckery where
if
this angle continues in some form or fashion. That's just my guess.
If they take the title off of Velveteen could go against either one of the, because Velveteen hasn't been NXT champion.
Yeah, but they're not going to take the title off of Velveteen to put it on Tyler Breeze.
They could if he stays.
God damn, they could. I don't know. I've already
That's what I love about
crossed
this.
it out once.
That's what I love about
NXT keeps you guessing.
And then
I'm talking
and
myself
everybody
out of it.
who wins is okay to win, in my opinion.
Okay.
I love everybody there. They're all so
and,
good.
Yeah.
Guys, we're pretty much out of time. I did want to say that if you haven't been watching the Best of the Super Juniors, that coming up there in Block A and Block B, there is a match coming up that's for that block, and it's Shingo versus Ishimori, and then Taguchi versus Will Ospreay. Both of those are happening in the last night, and both of those are for it. Who are you guys taking?
A block, I'm going to take Shingo. He's just been killing everybody in his way. Ishimori just going to have to take a seat for a second. God, B block, I really want to take Taguchi. I mean, he's been main event Taguchi, big match Taguchi all the way, but I really think Will Ospreay is going to do it, and then you will have Shingo over Will Ospreay to face Dragon Lee for the
that's why I think it's going to happen too.
I got the same thing. It's just a much bigger match than Taguchi's great. But Ospreay's the real, because Ospreay's going to go do heavyweight stuff, and Shingo's going to rule the roost down the junior heavyweight division for a while.
Great.
I'm actually going to say that finally,
you're going to watch it.
The Rock comes back to Shock City Studios.
I'm going to finally start making time to put in to watch New Japan.
Now's a pretty good time. Now's a pretty good time to start,
to jump in.
Dominion's coming up, and then G1's coming up.
The reason why I haven't is because I feel like I've missed so much up to this point, and the way you guys have been saying it up to this point, like this might be a good way to start.
Well, the thing is everything's logical, so you can just jump in, right? Anytime.
So and I'm making it a valiant effort to finally start watching New Japan.
Birthdays this week. Jake the Snake Roberts is 64 years old. No Way Jose is 31. Montez Ford, the aforementioned Montez Ford, is 29. James Storm is 42. AJ Styles is 42. Lex Luger is 61. Velvet Sky is 38. Gorilla Monsoon, rest in peace, would have been 82 this week. And Kona Reeves is 37. Hey, everybody, we know there's a ton of podcasts to listen to, so we appreciate you guys listening to ours. For Soul Taco, for JJ Twigs on Southampton, for F&B Eatery, for Schlafly Beer, for Sam the Mauler Mall, for Easy Eric, for Shock City Studios, for Murray the Murray Man Murray, Two Beer Zach Bowman, Jason Cornelius Bell. I am Bill Vagey, and everybody boo the heel.
What I am, I'm a common man. I'm banned from ringside. Ditch that 9 to 5, time to feed and dive. This is banned from ringside.